All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So my name is Dr. Hannah Brandt. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, a certified personal trainer, and I am an integrative and functional nutrition therapy practitioner. Today, I want to talk all about macro tracking and also just sifting through weight loss based videos or nutrition videos or fitness videos, kind of things that you should do online and how to kind of apply it to you. So this was inspired by recently a video of mine got a lot of traction on Facebook. Some good, some not so good. It's fine. Everybody has an opinion. So if you're on Facebook and you're new to my world, welcome. If you're watching this on LinkedIn or YouTube, also welcome. So what I want to talk about is specifically macro tracking. So when someone like myself, any other coach in the industry who's versed in macro tracking talks about macros to our community, we're not saying that that is the best tool for every single person. Think of it like Build-A-Bear when you're approaching a weight loss journey. Go into the store, pick what you like. Maybe you like this bear, but you don't like that outfit. You're going to put that outfit on this bear with that bear's shoes because that's what you like. It is okay to take pieces of various weight loss kind of programs and put it together in a way that makes sense for your lifestyle. And that's what I do with a lot of my clients. So just because someone is teaching on macros, how to track macros, logging your food in an app and doing so accurately with appropriate portions does not mean that that's going to suit your lifestyle, but it also is okay that it suits someone else's. Just because you don't want to log and track all your food doesn't necessarily mean that those using that strategy are doing anything wrong. So the video that I wanted to basically address with this broadcast is I talked about logging in MyFitnessPal and how it can be not the best idea sometimes to log foods without precision. So macro tracking, let's take it back a couple steps. It is a process of typically chasing certain physique goals, health-related goals, weight loss goals, however we want to talk about it, or simply learn about what's in your foods that you're eating. You monitor protein, fat, carbohydrate, and for those of us like good coaches, we're also looking at fiber. That's not a macronutrient, that's just part of your carbohydrate. But protein, carbs, and fat, those are your three macronutrients. And so then you break it down into like the various meals and snacks you're eating throughout the day. Doing that much math would be awful. So then we typically do that with a macro tracking app. There's a zillion out there. One of the most commonly known ones is MyFitnessPal. They have a free version and you can like put in like for breakfast, like I had, a bowl of cereal. And I had a cup of cereal, whatever the serving size are. I had, a half a cup of oatmeal. I had a Chick-fil-A sandwich on the way to work, like whatever. You just put it in the app and it does all the math for you. That's the benefit of it. So when it comes to logging in those types of apps, sometimes you want to double check and just make sure that what you're actually tracking is accurate. There is nothing wrong with choosing foods like sweet potatoes and avocados and pineapple and bananas. So the reason I'm bringing those up are those were in the video that I was mentioning a little bit earlier. And I was talking about how people can log those types of foods a bit less accurately, and it can impact your overall progress in your weight loss journey. Sometimes someone sees a video that's 60 seconds long and thinks that because I'm like, it makes me sad when I see someone taking the time to track all their macros and MyFitnessPal kind of looks like this. They're logged like one banana, one avocado, one sweet potato. That tailspins into, I can't believe this person is telling people they shouldn't eat bananas. Like, obviously, like, people take things out of context. So just because a coach is providing feedback to a certain niche, a certain portion of the population that is tracking macros does not mean that, and we're saying to log it a certain way, doesn't mean that that's a bad food by any means. I saw something I loved on Instagram, and it was this dietitian, and she was talking about how she had shared a smoothie recipe. I think it was something like a strawberry banana smoothie. And the backlash for that recipe was just like, well, why wouldn't you use blueberries in your smoothie? Blueberries are just as great of a fruit. And she was like, oh my God, like just because I talked about strawberries and bananas doesn't mean there's anything wrong with blueberries. Like, it's okay. So just because I'm talking about macro tracking and how to log certain foods Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the foods. It doesn't mean that you have to macro track. You can cherry pick what you want to learn from various social media platforms. But when you are logging certain foods, like a banana, a sweet potato, avocado, things like that, those are great food selections. And if you're new to tracking, have at it. You're probably going to see some great progress in the upcoming months. But where my video was tailored around was where it may not be the best idea to log, one medium banana, or half a medium banana, half an avocado, one medium chicken breast, one medium sweet potato in your log. The reason being, if you're already going to take the time to put in the effort and log your food and keep track of things, don't you want it to be worth your while? Like it actually work? Like if I'm going to stay up all night studying for an exam, I'm going to make sure I'm studying the right material for the exam. Wouldn't it make sense? You want to make the best use of your time. So when we're tracking in a free app, think about the foods that you're logging. Let's go back to a medium banana. Go to the grocery store tomorrow and just look at the variable sizes of bananas. If you've ever been to the grocery store, you can buy a bushel of bananas and they're all like kind of like little like baby like plantains almost, like they're not all that big. And then the next time you go to the grocery, it's like buying these like huge bananas or like sweet potatoes. Sometimes you get there and it's like the size of a like computer mouse. Sweet potato. Then other times, it's like the size of a football. Those aren't the same size. So even like avocados, sometimes they're tiny little petite things, and then other times you get like these monsters. And by logging like one half avocado or like one sweet potato, just the size variability can be so much that accidentally you might be off by a couple hundred calories a day. In the grand scheme of things, maybe not a big deal, but if you have been someone who's been dieting for a while, you feel like you're at a weight loss plateau, the details do matter. And by being a couple hundred calories over or under your goals, it may end up making you feel like you're at a plateau and you need to slash calories further, or you need to swear off entire food groups. So many people are so quick to be like, I can't have any sugar anymore, or I can't eat carbohydrates, or I'm going to swear off, I'm not going to have any of this ever again. When in reality, maybe if we're a bit more precise with the tool that we're using, that could be helpful. So again, macro tracking is not for everyone. It is detail oriented. It is time consuming. It is not near as time consuming as many people make it to be. Some people overcomplicate a inherently fairly simple tool, but it definitely takes more energy and effort than blindly following a meal plan. There's nothing wrong with blindly following a meal plan for any duration of time, but if you would like to actually achieve results with that meal plan and keep them, unless you plan on doing that forever, you should probably learn something in the process. So when you're getting videos in from social media about macro tracking in MyFitnessPal, how to log food, so maybe people talking about ketogenic style diets, maybe people talking about paleo, Whole30, Optavia, Peloton classes, spin, whatever. If that's not your thing, that's okay. It's their thing. And that's totally fine too. Not everybody has the same approach for their fitness, their general wellness and exercise, their nutrition, their dietary preferences, their mode of weight loss. It's okay to not agree that someone else's approach is the right one for you, but there's nothing wrong with it. Just because I do like to track macros and most of my clients do inherently end up tracking macros or at least learning that tool, it doesn't bother me if someone isn't into it. Not a big deal. But when it comes to macro tracking, as a very detail-oriented person myself, it makes a difference. If you're going to use that tool for weight loss, use it to your best advantage. Logging things in ounces, in grams, weighing out portion sizes is a big deal. Learning what 4 to 6 ounces of chicken actually looks like. Learning what, 20 grams of carbohydrate in the form of banana actually looks like, or 30 grams of 40 grams of carbohydrate in the form of a potato actually looks like. When you learn what a serving of peanut butter actually looks like, you're going to need to take a minute. There's a moment of grieving. It's more just acquainting yourself with portion sizes, just so when you're out and about and eating and maybe not logging and tracking everything so accurately, you have some ballpark ideas of what just general portions might look like. To me, I would love to eat sweet potatoes the size of footballs, but my eyes are usually bigger than my stomach. So it helps me to know portion control. portion sizes. That's where like logging and tracking comes in. It's definitely not for everybody, especially in the long run, but it can be a very effective tool when used short term. But when you're sifting through social media, YouTube, TikTok videos, Instagram, whatever, Facebook Reels or short videos, whatever, YouTube Shorts, there's a zillion things you can get your hands on now. It's okay to scroll past the ones that aren't inherently speaking your language, or if you just would go a different direction, that's okay. Not every video on social media is going to be applicable to you. And even if you don't think that like 60 seconds is exactly in your kind of repertoire of how you would approach your health and fitness, there's a lot of things that can be left out of a 60-second video. So just because something isn't specifically talked about in a video doesn't mean it's not also a very valid approach. But in general, macro tracking with MyFitnessPal, there seems to be very big camps in the diet culture. Some people are like, so team macros, log everything, perfectionism, no days off. And then there's team like, that's way too oppressive. Y'all are crazy. I could never imagine. You're what's wrong with the world. There's two very separate camps. And in reality, if you can blend the two together of, okay, maybe all the time is too much for me and definitely not long-term, but I could learn something from it. And okay, maybe not all the time, I can be a little bit more flexible. It's about taking a tool and applying it to your life. So when I teach a client macro tracking, there is no expectation of them meeting their macros perfectly every single day, the end. That sounds like a pretty boring life. It's about how to apply that tool in the best way to your life. Some days, if you're just at work, if it's a normal day, you can probably track your macros the whole day. It's usually easier for people during the week. But on the weekends, what if you had a friend's baby shower to go to and there was like little finger foods and stuff? Maybe macro tracking is not the right tool for that day. So just because you like to track macros or you do most of the time doesn't mean you need to all the time. Just because you don't want to all the time doesn't mean you can't find value in learning a little bit from that tool. So when it comes to overall like weight loss, weight maintenance, nutrition, fitness, all of these types of topics, it's okay to approach it from your own angle. And just because it works for someone else and doesn't work for you does not make that a bad strategy or approach. So be okay making your own version of things, even if you're working with a coach. So I wanted to just bring in some clarity on it does matter accuracy if you are tracking macros. There's nothing wrong with logging a sweet potato and banana and things like that. Those are great food choices. Fruits, great. Vegetables, great. Grains, great. Cookies, great. But if you're going to take the time and effort to track your macros and you're trying to get an intended result, you probably would benefit from doing it in the most accurate way possible. So if you have any questions, please drop them below this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.